If you ever pay attention around some fire alarm handles or the ones with the hoses wrapped in them, those are more likely to have these. You'll see a thing that says, in case of a fire, break the glass. Or in case of emergency, break glass. Either way, it's a last resort, and it's so much of a last resort that they make you break glass to get to it. So what they don't want is a false alarm and then having people breaking or pulling out fire hoses and soaking a toaster. Well, the United States has something similar to this, and it's for gas, oil and gas, and it's called the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, or either Strategic Petroleum Supply. I think it's the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. SPR, yes, Reserve. And what that is in case another country, in case we get into a conflict, oil can't be leveraged against us. It's for an emergency. But you don't want to just go breaking that glass just because a toaster kept your bread down too long. So if you do that, you run the risk of wasting a very, 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 very valuable asset in oil. A couple of years ago, Donald Trump saw oil price at a ridiculously low level. He's like, man, he did what a lot of rich people do, or just a lot of smart people do, and he saw, hey, this is an opportunity to buy low and fill up our Strategic Petroleum Reserve. And I think it's like 77 million barrels, which is a lot of freaking oil. But it made sense to do it when he saw the price at a ridiculously low rate. Like if you ever see a stock and it is insanely low, sometimes you buy just because it's that low. But in this case, he bought very low because it's something that we need and we'll always use. So he figured, hey, I might as well buy it now. Gas prices are low. Price per barrel is extremely low. I'm going to buy now. Chuck Schumer tried to block it. Congress tried to block something that can only benefit the United States. That's how anti-Trump they were. They're willing to hurt the country to the tune of rejecting something that is clearly for the country. But then Trump would get credit for it. So we don't want that. We're going to go ahead and shoot this down. Now, he ended up being able to get it done anyway. But the fact that they tried was actually pretty funny, because it showed who they really are. Because they're the first people to say, oh, the Republican Party is the party of obstructionists. You guys literally tried to not buy oil at one of the lowest prices ever, just so Trump didn't get credit. That's what they do. So anyway, back to my breaking the glass analogy. Biden has been tapping into this SPR, but for different reasons. Not because we need it. It's because his party needs it. And his party needs it because they've been in trouble, because their policies are absolute trash, and the American public is seeing it because we're seeing the results of their absolute trash policies in the form of inflation, bad economy, homelessness, crime. Everything that they say that they are compassionate about is failing because their policies are trash. They don't live in a real world. They don't live in reality. I'll get back to that point in a second. But they don't live in a reality. So in order for them to have any chance in the midterms, Biden's got to do something about these gas prices. Because they noticed something a couple months ago. They noticed that the gas prices, as they went down a little bit when he started dipping into the oil reserve, I want to say March, But gas was so ridiculously high, I think the national average was like $455. Insane. Absurd. Infuriating. But when the prices went down a little bit, depending on your state, some places went down pretty drastically, depending on the taxes that you guys have, his approval rating started going back up a little bit. So he said, oh, okay, we just need oil just a month, like he asked OPEC for. We just need oil to keep our people in power. That's what this is about. Power. After power comes money. So he's been slowly releasing and selling and using, oh crap, just got caught in the light, sorry, and using the oil reserves as a means to manipulate gas prices. This is exactly what he said OPEC was doing, manipulating the market. But he was saying that OPEC was doing it to hurt the United States. So I guess what he's doing is to help the United States. Does it really help us? Why don't we just drill? When Trump did that, we were completely energy independent. That was his reasoning, and it was legitimate as to being completely energy independent. We're pumping our own oil. We have a full oil reserve. No country will ever be able to leverage energy on us again until the left gets in power and tries to destroy the energy sector. And then now what are we doing? We're back to begging Maduro in Venezuela, legitimate communist regime. Hey, buddy, we're gonna go ahead and lift those sanctions against you guys. Just need you to pump some oil for us. Is this really about climate change? Do you guys really believe in climate change? How can you believe in climate change and be okay with what the left is doing right now? So, in you guys' minds, oil bad, fracking bad, oh, really bad. Fracking, oh my goodness, bad. Those are so bad that you need us to stop doing it. Fine, consistent, I like that. But when we need energy, not only will you not do it, but you're going to ask other countries to do it. How is that helping the climate? How is that helping the earth? I thought drilling was bad. Why is drilling okay when we need it? If it's bad, right? End of the world?
I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you?
You guys said this. I don't subscribe to this nonsense. But if you need oil and it's bad, why are you okay with other countries drilling? There's no consistency. It's still the Earth. It's still planet Earth that we're drilling in. So do you think that it depends on the hemisphere? You think the impact of climate change only matters based on where you drill on Earth? It's okay for everyone else to drill. Is it just us? Is that what this comes down to? You just hate America? Why don't you just say that? You guys are going through an awful lot to show that you hate America. You really are. Drilling is bad, but we're okay with it if OPEC does it. And if OPEC doesn't do it, we hate them. If OPEC does do it, we love them, but drilling is bad. Reconcile that for me, please. I need to hear the justification for this. OPEC bad because they won't drill. Is drilling bad? Yes. So you guys should be praising OPEC for saying, nope, we're gonna stick to our morals and we're not gonna drill because it's bad for the planet. Instead, you guys are all in calling for Biden to destroy OPEC, destroy the Saudis. we're going to go beg a communist regime, Venezuela, for oil. How do they get it? You think they're using a straw? They're drilling and then they're pumping. That's how you do it. They don't have a different system. So when you guys are praising OPEC for drilling and then mad at them for not drilling, you're the ones who don't want them to drill. There's zero consistency here. I see a flaw. I see a flaw. You guys are hypocrites. And when it works to your advantage, you're all in on drilling for oil. When it's a mean orange guy who tweets, oil is terrible and it's destroying the earth. When it's China, no problem. You're all in. So you guys will make rules for the United States to cut our oil production drastically. And then China, you guys got 20 years to start slowing down your production. How does that work? How is that consistent? It's fascinating how hypocritical you guys are on this one. Actually, there's a lot of them, but on this one specifically, oil is good when we need it, but not because we need it, but because you guys need to keep your power. And then all of a sudden, we're good with it. Drill, 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 baby, drill. Fracking, you guys will tie yourselves and your dogs to a pipeline and block traffic leading up to that pipeline because it's so bad. But only when it's here. Then you praise Joe Biden for going to Maduro in Venezuela, a straight up dictator in a communist regime. You're good with that because we need to look at the prices. Oh my goodness. You don't see the problem, the inconsistency there? It's still coming from the earth. You'll blame it only when it's America. Only when it works to our advantage is drilling oil bad. And it only is bad if it impacts you guys' ability to hold power.
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering, people are dying, entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you?
Power to do what? Power to redistribute money and destroy the energy sector. Because that's your ultimate goal. Destruction. That's all you guys care about. There's a naivete involved. But I think that's just pure. Not on this topic. On this topic, it's very clear what you guys are doing.
Our focus, and it's been very clear for the past several months, has been on taking every step to ensure markets are sufficiently supplied to meet demand for a growing global economy. And thanks to this president's efforts, and his historic actions that he has taken, energy prices have declined sharply from their highs, and American consumers are paying far less at the pump than they were several months ago.
It is all power. But there's a naivete in that this country is doing just fine, and that we don't really need to do anything, but we need to help the rest of the world. And Joe Biden, he's a president of the United States, and he's disgustingly licking an ice cream cone. No dignity, just, come on. You're 80 years old, licking all on an ice cream cone, talking to reporters.
Are you concerned about the strength of the dollar right now?
I'm not concerned about the strength of the dollar. I'm concerned about the rest of the world. Does that make sense?
Can you explain that?
Yes. Our economy is strong as hell. The internal. Inflation is worldwide. It's worse off everywhere else than it is in the United States. So the problem is the lack of economic growth and sound policy in other countries, not so much ours. And that's how it's worldwide inflation. It's consequential.
Anyway, while he's licking his ice cream cone, a guy's saying, hey, are you worried about the economy? And he's, our economy's strong as hell. Really? Really? Then why are you doing all of this? Why are you going to communist regimes? And why are you going to Saudi Arabia? And why are you asking China? Why are you asking all these murderers to produce oil if our economy's strong as hell? He's dead serious. It's the rest of the world. Rest of the world suffers. They're suffering, not us. We're guys. It's strong as hell. Really? I think there's a lot of people who think that, but those are the people who don't live in the real world. He doesn't live in the real world. Joe Biden doesn't live in. He doesn't have to go get gas. He doesn't go buy his own food. It's all given. It's kind of like royalty. It's all just there. He didn't even buy that ice cream cone. It's just there. Everything's provided for you. You don't actually have to buy stuff. And that's where the separation is. That's where idiots, complete morons in power think, our economy is just strong as hell. So as he gets worse and worse and mumbles more and more,
I hope I can't quite see what I can't see in the front there. I think, and I actually wish I could be there with you in person. You know, I mean it. You know, and I've had. And by the way, again, to ad lib a second here, you know, you're also what people don't realize. You're the same folks who are there holding the boot in the corner to raise money for the people who just lost their home. Not a joke. That's what you do. That's what you do. You're the ones who line the Little League fields. You're the one, you're just, anyway, you're an incredible group of individuals. I have not made that formal decision, but it's my intention. My intention to run again. And we have time to make that decision.
Dr. Biden is for it. Mr. President. Oh.
Dr. Biden thinks that, my wife thinks that, that we're doing something very important. Minnesota, Texas, to help however they can. And New York sent not only a congresswoman, one of the most congresswomen in the Congress, but a state troopers providing a pathway for dreamers. Can you imagine? Maybe some of you are dreamers. It's like, I don't know what people expect to say when your mom's taking you across the Rio Grande and say, no, Mom, I'm staying here. I'm not going. I'm going to make my choice. Come on. This is bizarre. The temporary status holders, farm workers, and essential workers as well.
The country's falling further and further from where it was just 2 years ago. Kamala Harris has not been to the border. Why? Because she does the same thing he does. They're scared to put her in public. Him, they know they have to put him in public. He's the president. I mean, you can only weekend at Bernie's him for so long. But her, she's a lot younger, supposedly more capable, supposedly more educated, still hasn't been to the border. You know why? Because what she'll say is, I am here at the border, and we're looking at the border to see what can be done about the border, and all these people crossing the border, and it's my job to ensure that the border stays our border.
But I mean, truly, when when you see our kids, and I truly believe that they are our children, they are the children of our country, of our communities. I mean, our future is really bright if we prioritize them, and therefore prioritize the climate crisis.
That's what she does. it's so embarrassing when black people say, oh my God, we got Kamala. And then you see her speak. Ugh, she's so dumb. How can a DA or whatever she was, AG, whatever she was, how can she be so dumb?
We know that we really are quite behind in terms of maximizing our collective understanding about how we will engage on the technology of today and what we can quickly and easily predict will be the technology over the next decades. So to maintain our position as the United States of America on this issue, it is critical that we work together to understand where we are, to recognize and have the courage to speak truth about what is obsolete, and then to partner to ensure that we are speaking the same language with the same motivation, inspired by the opportunity of it all, but then doing the work of updating how we have been talking and thinking about our exploration in space.
This shows you how bad education can be. Not how bad it is, of course, but it can really push people through for no apparent reason. I don't know how she got out of high school speaking like that. I definitely don't know how she became an attorney. If you can't make an argument, you should be able to speak in front of people. It shouldn't be a huge obstacle. You're an attorney. You should have to argue cases every now and then. I mean, mostly you want to settle, but what is she? How did she make it to where she is, and she can't speak? We'll use the word speak. I'm here to speak on behalf of all speakers. And when people speak, we expect other people to listen, because when we speak, we're speaking from experience of speakers. Like, this is what she does. She's terrible. And we just sit there, yes, she's got a similar skin tone to mine. We love her. Locked up black people for a living. Laughed about it. But she's got our skin color. It's a clown show. Nancy Pelosi gets up there, mumbles some stuff. We don't know what she's saying. Her teeth are falling out as she's speaking.
The fact is that we have a responsibility to secure our border. We also have a responsibility to recognize the importance of newcomers to our nation. Right now, the best thing that we can do for our economy is to have comprehensive immigration reform. We have a shortage of workers in our country, and you see even in Florida, some of the farmers and the growers saying, why are you shipping these immigrants up north? We need them to pick the crops down here. Why are you shipping these immigrants up north? We need them to pick the crops down here. But that doesn't mean that we don't recognize our moral responsibility as well.
She's literally sucking at her teeth. We used to get in trouble for that. These are the three most powerful people on earth. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Kamala. Just repeating words.
Today, the business of our work is for the Council to report on the work that has occurred since our last meeting across these areas. We will today also discuss the work yet ahead, the work we must still do to continue to move forward.
And Nancy Pelosi, people are going to do what they do. I don't think the people are upset with us. Your approval rating's at 20%. I reject that premise.
Well, first of all, let me say that I think that much of what you've said I don't agree with. That is to say, the New York Times poll, I think, is an outlier poll. You cite one poll, but all the other polls.
It's also the Real Clear Politics average is showing similar issues.
No, but that was one that brought down the average, and it was an outlier. It wasn't even that big a sample. So I dismiss that. I've been, since Congress adjourned, I've been in an average of 5 states a week. And I can tell you that women's concerns about their freedom are very, very much still very significant in terms of how they will vote.
We get so happy they throw a dog a bone. They give us one black person in there. The country's being run by 80 and 90-year-old white people. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but just acknowledge it. You guys are the party of inclusion. Nancy Pelosi is the Speaker of the House, and Joe Biden is the president. And Chuck Schumer, well, that's the Senate guy. They're all 1,800 years old combined. They're for us. They're for young black people. Stacey Abrams. She still thinks she's the governor of Georgia. I'm gonna have to do a video on her. She's one of the worst. One of the worst of the worst. Oh my God, the things she said about abortion. Oh, she's a horror show. But anyway.